Hi, welcome today. No, start again. Hello. Today we're going to take the classic chicken noodle soup and we're going to make one batch chicken noodle and one batch chickpea. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome back to One Dish, Two Ways. I'm Sheila and Joe's behind the camera. So today we're doing a classic. I'm taking chicken noodle soup, but I'm going to turn it into chickpea soup for me. All the ingredients are the same except the chicken and the chickpeas. So let's make this happen. So I've got both the pots going and I turned them on a few minutes ago before the camera came on. So now they're ready. They're on medium and they're ready for me to add the vegetables. So we're going to start with the classic vegetables for this dish, which is celery, carrots, and onions. And yesterday I went ahead and cut them up. And the tip about this is you use whatever amount you like. If your family likes more carrots than celery, then by all means use more carrots than celery. You just need 3 cups total of carrots, celery, and onions. So it's whatever you want. If you prefer leeks over onions, go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to make it so that your family will eat it. So always make these things your own. Okay, so we've got these going in our skillet, in our pots. So we're going to let these sweat a little bit. And then we'll talk about this. Now, this is a classic soup, and I'm sure most of us have memories of when you were a kid and you didn't feel good or you were under the weather. This was the go-to soup. It wasn't tomato soup. It was chicken noodle. It was supposed to make you feel better. And I think there's just something comforting about chicken noodle soup. So I just love this recipe. Like I said, if your family doesn't like carrots, use more onions and celery. The other option is if your kids don't really like to see the chunks of the veggies, you could saute these down and then blend them with your veggie broth. That way there's never any chunks for them to see, but yet they're getting all those nutrients that they need and the taste for this soup. So that's another option for you if you need that option. So let me get an actual stirrer here. Again, I don't use oil for my cooking. So if the vegetables start to stick a little bit, I've got a little bit of water here, or I could use some of the veggie broth to release them from the pot. But so far, everything is looking good and they're starting to sweat some. This recipe is just so easy to adapt. Now, if you are somebody who wants to include more vegetables or beans into your diet, you could also put half of it chicken and half of it beans. So it's very customizable based on what it is that you are wanting to serve. Now, I am making 2 full pots. You could just make 1 pot, and then at the end, when you serve it, add the chicken or the chickpeas. The reason I'm doing 2 is, you know what we like to do? We like to put it in the freezer. So most likely we will eat half of this week. Half of it will go in the freezer, and then we'll pull it out when we have a week that we haven't had as much time to food prep, or a week that one of us is feeling under the weather and we want some chicken noodle soup or some chickpea noodle soup. So that's what we'll be doing with it. So those are different options for you. Oh, these are already starting to smell so classic. You can't meet the mirepoix of the onions, celery, and carrots. I personally love cooked celery, probably more than I like raw celery. Joe likes celery all around, and he prefers less carrots. So this pot has a few less carrots than this one does, and that was by design because I know this pot's going to be for Joe. So again, that's how I make it customizable. And if you see the carrots are different colors, because from our garden, Joe planted different colored ones. So there's a couple yellow carrots in here too. So that would be the difference. So, oh my gosh, these smell so good. Now, to really, how do I say this? To really amp up to bloom the spices, we're going to add the spices now before we add the broth so we can stir them around. And I'm going super classic on our spices here. One of our favorites, poultry seasoning. So if you look at the back of poultry seasoning, oh, I don't have my glasses on. I don't have my readers on at least. It's thyme, marjoram, celery, rosemary. Oh, I cannot read the rest. Can you read that? Seriously, I need my readers on. Sorry, y'all.
Nutmeg, black pepper.
Yes. Classic. It's just so, I think there's sage in there too, right? No sage. Okay. So this has everything that you need. And I also love that it doesn't have any salt in it, because Joe can add the salt at the end to his, is what the plan would be. So we're going to do 2 teaspoons in both pots. I am going to add a little extra pepper, just because we really like pepper, especially me. So we just want these to be in the last, because we're only going to let these spices, or excuse me, the veggies just need to get translucent. And then we're going to add the other ingredients. And since they're halfway there already, then I just want to be able to bloom these spices. Again, you can skip this step. I just think it really enhances, thank you, honey. It really enhances the flavor of the spices if you let them cook a little bit and you kind of like roast them. So let me stir this around. Oh my gosh. Actually smells a lot like Thanksgiving in here right now, to be completely honest with you. With the, you know, stuffing. Exactly, the beginning of stuffing. You're right. Oh my goodness. Smells so good. And we got our flu and COVID shot yesterday, so I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so I'm looking forward to having this for dinner tonight, but also for lunch tomorrow. So it's always good when you look forward to the lunch you're going to take to work. Okay, so these spices are looking fantastic. So I think it's time to add the rest of our ingredients. So I've got 8 cups of broth here. Now, you know I like to use the jar where you just add a couple teaspoons to make your broth. Sometimes I make it from scratch, but I don't have enough. So the main difference between regular chicken noodle soup and this one is we're using veggie broth for both of the soups. And Joe's perfectly fine with that. I mean, he doesn't have any problem with that. So this is mine. So this is the chickpea. So we've got the veggie broth in there. Now we need to add our noodles. So this is 8 ounces of dry noodles. These are just whole wheat elbow noodles. You can add whichever kind of noodles. You can even add gluten-free noodles if you would like. I'm going to stick that in there. And then this is 1.5 cups of cooked chickpeas. Now I had made a big batch yesterday in my Instapot, but if you have a can, you only need 1 can of chickpeas. And by the time you rinse and drain them, it would be 1 can. If you are not a fan of chickpeas, not a problem. You can use white beans. Any white beans you want. Cannellini, Great Northern. It's whatever you want to do. So we're going to get this back up to a boil. That's another thing I like about this soup. It's simple. And really, if you already had some leftover pasta, then we're going to get this back up to temp. Okay, how we need to do this. If you already have leftover pasta, this would take no time at all. So we're going to add the broth to this one. Veggie broth again. 8 cups of it. You can see that stuff, I got to stir it around better. This one. But it'll be stirred around in here, that's for sure. Okay, and then he's also got 8 ounces of pasta, which is 2 cups of dry pasta. And then he's got chicken, and we had got a rotisserie chicken yesterday, and this is 1.5 cups of that cut up chicken. And you could use whichever kind of chicken you would like if you prefer dark meat. Did I just spill that everywhere? You would like dark meat over white meat. He's got a combination of the two. It's that simple. And it's another way to use up. Maybe you bought a can of chickpeas, or you cooked a bunch of chickpeas and then you didn't make hummus and you're like, what am I going to do with these chickpeas? This is a great idea what to do with these chickpeas. And as this is because the chickpeas are done, the chicken's done. Really at this point, and our veggies are halfway done, you just need to let the noodles cook. So it's going to be between 10 and 20 minutes. It just depends on the noodles that you have. Gluten-free, definitely make sure you look at the package to know if you need to leave it in there a little bit longer or not. So we're just going to cover these up. We're going to let them get to a boil and then turn them back down. Let's Go this way. And then we will be back in 10 to 20 minutes and show you what the final product looks like. See you in a second. Hi, welcome back. It's been 15 minutes. So I let them get back up to temp. They started to boil. So then I reduced the heat, put the lid on it. And because of the pasta we had, they were ready in it's been 15 minutes. So we're going to take the cover off. This is the chickpea one. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. And actually, you know, it said 8 ounces in the recipe that I kind of used as my inspiration for this. I think that's a lot of pasta. I don't know. Maybe just the pasta got really big. I don't know. But woo, 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 ha, 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 ha. Hot tamales. Oh my goodness. Doesn't that look so good? It smells amazing in here. It just smells so good. So I'm going to serve these up and then do a couple more tips for you that I'm also going to put into the, in the comments there, the description when Joe puts the recipe in the video. So, so that's the chickpea, and this is the chicken. So again, when I give you the recipe, I tell you the ingredients. I'm going to put these over here while we talk. This is his. This is mine. I give you the ingredients for each pot. So you would have to, if you want 2 pots, you need double the ingredients. The other option is you could have just did what I did. Don't add the chickpeas and the chicken, and then you would add it at this point. And then everybody could make their own. You could have some crackers and you could go from there. If you don't want to have that much soup, that's an option. The other option is this would be a great one to use up Thanksgiving turkey leftovers, because you could easily sub turkey meat in here instead. And then, like I said, any noodle your family likes. This is going to be hot, honey. It's going to be super hot. And again, I think any kind of white bean, northern bean, or if your family likes both beans and meat, there's nothing that says you couldn't add some beans and some chicken to this. You don't have to do one or the other. Joe likes soup with these, what are these soup crackers? What are they called? Oyster crackers. He really loves these. So we're going to give this a try and try not to burn our mouths. I definitely want my chickpeas. If you wanted to make this with, if you prefer, what's that veggie mix called that has the green beans and peas and corn and carrots? There's a mix out there with that. You could always do that. I just love onions, celery, and he's going to add salt and carrots. I think that just makes it so, no more pepper. Usually I'm pepper heavy, so I went a little light. I get a lot of complaints from the family. Why is your food so spicy? Oh, I might have added too much pepper. When people come visit, not Joe. So good. I actually think you could add a little bit more poultry seasoning if you wanted to. I think a lot of my poultry seasoning got on the lid, so I might add a little bit more, but that is so good. And the noodles are cooked perfectly. My beans are cooked perfectly, the veggies. So how are the veggies for you? They cooked enough? Mm-hmm. Carrots small enough for you?
It's going to be fine. I'll cook up a grilled cheese to go with it, and that'll be good to go.
There you go. So you can serve this soup and sandwich with it, soup and salad. You could do different carrots, different kinds of crackers and cheese if you wanted to serve it for the family. Great option. And like I said, we'll put half in the freezer for a day a week we don't have time for meal prep. So thank you so much for joining us on One Dish, Two Ways, and we'll see you next week for another new recipe. Thank you.